among the lines that are borrowed or stolen in that poem is a paraphrase of a very interesting quote of Gertrude Stein's. When she visited America in the 1930s, she was entertaining the reporters with very fluid responses to their questions, and one of them, contemplating the fact that her writing wasn't quite as easy to comprehend, said, why don't you write the way you read? Why don't you write the way you speak? And she said, why don't you read the way I write? Which I found. Of course, she also said to Hemingway, remarks are not literature, but she's read very little and mostly known for her remarks, so strangely prophetic. I thought I'd read just because I look above me and see this fluorescent structure, which is very much like a piece of sculpture that would be done by Dan Flavin. And I was invited some years ago to, it was about to say Minneapolis, but it wasn't, St. Louis, and that's a very New Yorker mistake to make. It was somewhere in between California and New York City. But it was St. Louis to the Pulitzer Foundation there, and was invited to write a poem about an exhibition of Dan Flavin's work being held there, and it caused me to think about light, both artificial and solar. So I'll read this poem, which has, I think, several short sections. It's titled, The Spelled Out Spark in Rooms. And as I said, it's inspired by or for the sculptor Dan Flavin. The mind's eye begins with atmosphere and islets of dust, sorts out the various kinds of dark, the blue-black of casual doom, the humid shade collecting under bridges, or the charcoal hue that settles in hospital rooms after visiting hours. Beamish to lusterless, satellite to blacktop skid, every fleck a sun, every sun a dial to be turned. 2. On the verge of palpable, that's where the mind's eye begins. Even as a lamp gives off heat, weird laws govern just how much they bend when necessary. Even the gods open windows for want of a breeze. How much glare of signage, its flicker urging us somewhere warmer than mere night. The atomists, we're told, believed in an imago, that vision peel off, say, an orange. The optic, then, a circuit, self-sufficient in a bodiless world. But pictures don't make you wince at noon, lay out in its blaze, or hide among big rocks, till you're still magnified within sunlight's inelastic speed. 4. So there are rays, strong ones, others only splinters. A flashlight's shaky beam spies out a furnace gauge, or palms press eyelids. Starry zone, particles of nowhere. 5. Take hold of useful tools, egg beaters, mallets, and slingshots, things from cartoons, things thin as painted air. Sensations cloud inhaled through blue, green, and red straws, leaning in the corner, feigning stealth. We're all around this campfire singing. 6. In a television's stuttered glow, revenge carried out by a woman wearing a towel, a Spanish boy kneeling in an attic. Stories seek geometries, column, frame, fenestra, through which phosphor moves discontentedly, ever more perishable. If the passageway's impassable, you'll slouch instead in its fabricated dusk. 7. A sparkling disco ball, or Descartes peering through an ox's eye. Nothing more than vibration, sunrise failing to dismantle the old fort. Mirrors mirror what's unconcealed. Daybreak, streaming only as far as the cord allows. The last section. Next to last. If a sentence moved rapidly as sight, its verb would be a tweezer-sized pyre consuming the word traverse. Lightning made smooth on paper, silver, silver true, an instrument is launched in the chromosphere. Cigar-shaped, scissor-bright, and alive as a moon, a dashboard, as frequency is often monumental, always sentient. The last section. Fluorescent detonation at your feet. Shapes on the valley floor, indistinct as exhalation. The eye surveys, illumes in these woods, on a patio, by the bed, articulates prescription bottles, a cone, an empty glass. And this light is the deed, the suffering of darkness. Read one more. I'll read the title poem of the book, Touch Wood. Which is actually a kind of Britishism. The expression, I think, is really the American usage is to knock wood, which is done to ward off fate. But I like the British use touch wood, which someone recently pointed out to me seems to have some kind of sexual double entendre, which I wasn't particularly thrilled about. Generally, writers are pleased that their work is open to interpretation, but sometimes not. Touch wood. Pillar, then pedestal, and yes, you want to be saved, not tossed off, left to wrecks. Wheels, teeth per inch, wordage over blood pressure, speed at which cylinders spin, or nickels enough to fill his fist, then hers, then how many times clenched, makes revolution happen, revolving doors stop. You start off already unable, addled even, by proximity to this or that bullseye, another glossy page, one more instance of giving to get, and what you get is mortal cold, but spit-shined. So being loved isn't smart, it's Lincoln Logs, Mortice and Tenon, a kind of compulsion, a cabin with its curl of smoke. We lay down house, our animal griefs, intact inside such labor. Thank you very much.